Welcome back to another episode. We appreciate you coming back as always. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Team Alpha Charlie of Douglas Realty in Pasadena, Maryland. That's tacmd.com, tacmd.com. Thank you, Adam, for all his support. You got me alone today. It's just Alex. No Mike today. We've had some issues scheduling, especially with the holidays. First of all, it's Tuesday, November 25th. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the United States who celebrates Thanksgiving. So this is going to be kind of a give thanks episode, but also some other ramblings that I've got going on. I'm still trying to buy a car and still don't like the prices on them. I didn't think it would be this incredibly difficult to find a lease on a new car. If you're putting $3,000 to $4,000 down, trying to get something in like the 450 range on a 3-row SUV. Been looking at Grand Cherokee L's, the Dodge Durango, looked at Ford Explorers, and it's just really, really difficult to get the price down in that range. Then used cars, I mean, if I want to be in that 450 range, I've got to be right around $25,000, right? And so it's a tough task right now. So I guess I don't know what the strategy is, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm generally very upfront with the car dealers when I go in, especially on the lease. I said, look, I'm looking for 7,500 miles a year. I want numbers with 0 down, 2,000 down, and 4,000 down. 36, 39 months, 24 months doesn't matter to me. Like the money factor at the buy rate. Apparently, like with Dodge and Jeep, the money factor was like 0.003 and change versus 0.002 or 0.0018, which is where you want to be for excellent credit. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. Still going to drive around my 21-year-old Yukon. My wife's got her 12-year-old Ford Edge. They're not going to give us anything for those. So there's no point in trading those in. So, I mean, it's a fairly simple transaction. The other part of it is, I mean, shoot, one thing I really don't like is that some of these dealers, they've got a price listed online, especially for used cars. And then you go in, of course you got to pay taxes, 6.5% in Maryland. Like, here's the thing. I get it, you might have some out-of-state buyers. But why not put the price with tax on there? So that people, when they get to your store, they're not all pissed off that another $1,500 to $1,700 is added in because of tax, right? Like, I know people should know they have to pay tax and it's not included, but come on. Like, just put it on there. And then the other part of it is, if you have an $800, $500 to $800 document fee for all your cars, just add that in. And then, to be honest, I mean, other than tags and title, which it aggravates the stuffing out of me, that they're trying to mark up the tags and title. In Maryland, it's I think it's $180 to $220 per year to register a light SUV. And they're gonna mark it up to like $400 or $500. Like, no, just give me the stuff. I'll go get it titled and tagged myself then. Like, I'm already getting charged all these extra fees. I mean, and I guess the other part is, like, if you know how much tags and titles are on those cars, again, put those in the price. That way, when people get to you, like, there was this one car. It was on the online for $26,500. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, let's do 26 out the door, right? I figured there'd be a counter offer at 27. He's like, no, we're with taxes, fees, and everything, we're probably closer to 29,000. Like, dude, that's another $2,500 in taxes and fees. That's not insignificant. So why don't you just put 29? I wouldn't have wasted your time by even reaching out to you. Because I'm figuring with if he's listed at 26.4, now he's had the car for 75 days. My other thing is like, don't you want to get rid of this thing? But I've noticed that if you go online to like Car Gurus or Cars.com and you look at the price history of these cars, like you'll see like they'll start somewhere and they either go up or down. And I don't think an actual person is doing the pricing. I think it's completely computer based, and I think the computer misses the mark 80% of the time. Because you look on dealers' websites, I mean, you can go to Car Gurus and Cars.com, and you can see how long that car has been sitting on the lot. If this algorithm and this computer program was so good and so great at pricing vehicles, they wouldn't be there for 70, 90, 120, 180 days. There's no way that should happen. If that's the case, I'm not using that algorithm. And then for something like, you've had this car for 75 days. If I offer you 26 out the door, and you come back and you're not even budging on the 26.4. So basically what these people are saying is, and this isn't like a non-negotiating dealership. He's like, look, I don't have any more room to budge in the car. I've got a couple hundred, not a couple thousand. And I'm like, see, just because you bought it high doesn't mean someone else has to buy it high, right? Because the other option for these people is to send it back to auction and get even less. Like if he sends that car to auction, he gets 20,000, maybe 21. If I'm offering him 26 out the door, that means he's going to get 24, roughly. That's 3,000 more than he's going to get at the auction. But the problem is if he does that, then it becomes a comparable in the market. Like if he sends it to auction, it doesn't lower the next value. It doesn't lower the value for the next one he gets. But if he sells it to me, it lowers the value because it goes into that computer system. And so there's not an incentive to sell it to me at a price that they don't want the market to set for the next one. And if I was the car dealer, if I was the owner or the general manager, I would 100% not give two shits about what the precedent is for the next one. Because even if you set the precedent for the next one, guess what? That lowers the amount you pay on someone else's trade-in for the next one. It all works out in the end. But for them to be willing to take a $3, $4, $5 loss by going to auction versus maybe breaking even on it by selling it to me, that makes no sense to me. That makes absolutely no sense. But it doesn't have to make sense to me, right? I'm just the buyer. I'm just the person with the money. But it's wild to me that this is the way the car market works right now. The other one is there are a whole bunch of 2025 Ford Explorers sitting in the lot. Now, there's already 2026s out there. So all these 2025s in the lot, Ford's got some program right now where it's like $4,000 down, $319 a month, but that's like on the most basic version. Like if you just go up a little bit to the ST line, now you're looking at like $550 a month for the same terms. It's like, that's a massive difference, but it's because they're pushing the lower trims, I guess. But don't you want to get rid of all these 2025s? You got 2026s on your lot right now. But I don't know. I mean, imagine eventually they'll discount them so much, but there's just got to be a better way. And I think, the places like Carvana and CarBacks and all those places, the reason why they sell cars is because it's simple. People go in, they know the price. They know what the price is. Yeah, and some people, and I get it, some people don't want the hassle. They're willing to go in and pay more just so they don't have to have the hassle, and I get that. Good for them. I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to pay a CarMax price on a car. I know they don't recondition it any better. They're not putting better tires on it. They're not doing anything to justify the additional $3,000 to $4,000 you're paying for the car. So I'm not going to pay it. But that's been my car buy. It's just been really frustrating to buy a car. And I don't think these dealers have kind of come to grips with the reality of the car market at the moment. Because all the people that were dumb enough to pay the MSRP on these cars are either paid for it and they've got their car, or they got into the car and had it repoed. And there are a lot of repos going through the used car auctions right now. Well, those people aren't really going to qualify for bank loans. It's not like it was in the past where you could have the worst credit on earth and you're going to get financed for a car for 84 months. No, no, no. You're going to get a 25% interest rate in maybe 48 months. Well, guess what? It's going to go into default again. They're going to get the car and they're going to play the games for 6 to 8 months until the repo guy finds the car. But it's not like there's a whole bunch of people out there that have these great credit scores that can go out and buy cars right now. Banks really clamp down on the criteria for lending with cars. And so I think dealers need to adjust. Now, I know the used car market's still a little bit elevated because people aren't buying new, so they're not getting the trade-ins that they had. But the repos are coming out. Smaller car dealers are probably snatching those up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. The good thing is I can afford to be patient because I don't absolutely need a car at this moment. I can wait for a good deal to come around. I'm hoping that December, I'm hoping the incentives really come around. I know Stellantis, especially with their Dodges and their Jeeps, for their 2026 models, they have lowered the MSRPs on a lot of their vehicles. So like the Dodge Durango, I mean, shoot, you can get those in the mid fours, right? Like 45 with incentives right now, 45,000, which isn't horrible for. And I'm talking about like some options are in there, not completely bare bones, like a GT Plus on the Durango or a Grand Cherokee L Limited, also right around 45,000. The problem right now is the interest rates are still elevated, so you can't. Before you could get that $45,000 vehicle, and you could have a $450 a month lease, or a $500 650 car payment over 5 years, right? Like that wasn't awful at that time because you were talking like 2.5, 3% interest rates. Well, now the interest rates. I mean, I got approved in my credit union for 5.5% with excellent credit, and I mean 5.5% is not bad. But it's not the 2.5 we were seeing 5-6 years ago. You know, you pay half the interest. I mean, that can do a nice number on the payment every month. It makes it more affordable. So I think car dealers are going to have to figure this out. Funny thing is, I watch some of these guys on like YouTube and Facebook. Like, oh, I don't know why this car's not selling. 100% of the time, it's the price, stupid. It's the price. Yeah. Unless a car is pristine, you can't be asking for top level stuff. But never mind the fact, all this stuff now breaks. You know, a Ford 3.5 liter engine, turbo EcoBoost with a 10-speed transmission. You don't know which is going to fail first. The cam phasers in the engine, or the 10-speed transmission. Now, by 2023, the model year 2023 Explorers and Expeditions, they fixed it. They made a lot of the fixes. The updated cam phasers, the updated CDF drums, the updated valve bodies. Like, they fixed a lot of the issues. So if it's 2023 or later, you got no problems buying those. But if you buy, like there was a 2018 Ford Expedition XLT, but I'm pretty sure it had the limited package in there because it had the panoramic sunroof and a whole bunch of other stuff. 74,000 miles. They're only asking $25,000 for this thing. Like the price is right on this thing, on this used car. The problem is you don't know when the cam phasers are going to go, and you don't know when the 10-speed transmission is going to fail. I looked into a vehicle service contract for that thing. $4,000 for 4 year coverage. $4,000. Now I probably would have paid $3,000. But $4,000, wild. And that was through that endurance company that you always see advertising online. Like the dealership that has it, they had a plan that they were willing to sell for like $1,800, but the company was like GWC or something like that, and that didn't have great reviews at all, so started paying out. I had one called Zurich on my wife's car a long time ago. We had no issues with that. As long as you got a mechanic that's willing to work with those companies and make the phone calls and stay on hold and all this other stuff. I mean, that company paid out every time that we had an issue. So, and we had that bumper to bumper coverage. And so, I mean, I'm pretty sure Endurance would as well. It's just $4,000 is a lot of money. Um, and I get it, there's inflation and whatnot. But when we bought the one for my wife, I think it was 4 years, 48,000 miles, and from the day we got it. Um, and I want to say, I think we paid $1,800 for that back then. Now, don't get me wrong, I get it. Cars are, especially newer ones, like they all have issues, right? GM's got their 10-speed issues, which it's almost the same as the Ford 10-speed. They developed it together. Honda's had the 9-speed issue. Toyota has the 9-speed issue or 8-speed issue. You know, a lot of these transmission issues, right? No car manufacturer is immune to it. They all have them. You know, I was even looking at the older Lexuses, and I listened to some guy, a car care nut, on YouTube, and he's like, I've seen these cars bankrupt people because of some of the issues and how long it takes to kind of get around the engine bay and fix some of these things. That was on like the 2008, 2009, 2010 Lexus LS with a V8. And I think the brake booster alone was like a $4,000 job. That's crazy. I mean, the brake booster on my Yukon, I think, was like a $600 job with parts and labor included. And that's wild. That's wild, right? So, I don't know. I'll see. I'm going to keep you guys informed. Been looking at pretty much every three-row SUV out there. I did look at like an older 2018, 2019 Toyota Highlander. The third row and the room behind the third row is just really cramped, and I passed on a really nice vehicle. There was I think it was a 2018, had 80,000 miles on it, which for that Toyota wouldn't be that big of a deal. Limited platinum, so top of the line spec. 2018, it did not have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but I think there's a guy on there out there who he sells like an add-on box where you just kind of put it on and it works with it. Like it's like $800 to do it, and you install it yourself. But yeah, and they only wanted like 25,000 for it, or 25 and change. It probably would have been like 28, 29 out the door. And for that car, it would have been pretty much set it, forget it, do the oil changes, take care of the regular maintenance, and it probably would have lasted for 300,000 miles, right? It was just the size was a little too small. So, I don't know. I may end up looking again on one of those. But the Pilot's bigger. The Palisade is bigger. The Grand Cherokee L, the Durangos. I mean, the Durangos get a bad rap, and it seems like Stellantis has fixed that 9-speed transmission that's in both of them. And the Pentastar V6 seems to have gotten a lot better, although you can now get the Dodge Durango for 2026 and beyond. It will only come with a Hemi V8, and hopefully they fix those Hemi V8 issues. So yeah, I'll keep looking, keep you informed, if anyone really cares. But so there's that. Back to work. The shutdown is over conveniently right after the elections in November. Shocker, right? Everyone was trying to figure out who was going to get hurt more by the shutdown. Well, it looks like GOP didn't do very well. The one I was surprised about was the Jay Jones. I wasn't surprised about Spanberger and Virginia being elected, but I was surprised about Jay Jones with the text messages that came out. Not that I'm really for that kind of attack politics, but that was pretty heinous that came out about the guy. Surprised it wasn't a split ticket as far as governor and attorney general. But yeah, I think that was more of government was shut down. By the time the elections rolled around, a second missed paycheck, and I mean, shoot, man, you're talking about Northern Virginia were really affected. Yeah, I think people are going to vote with their wallet, and it looks like they were blaming the administration more than the Democrats, and that's what happens. You lose elections like that. I think that was probably a huge miscalculation. But yeah, elections happen, life goes on. So, New Jersey was interesting, um, but not really, right? I mean, Democrat won, shocker, in New Jersey. I did not like how they went after her, Mickey Sherrill. That was not, or I think it's Mickey Sherrill, not Mikey. Um, I wasn't a big fan of how they did that. I think they should have left that alone. Just run the race. Um, but, you know, that's life. Life goes on. Like Mike and I were talking about, I don't think the world's going to end because a D or an R gets elected. So we keep on trucking. Been back to work, so about a couple weeks now. And definitely having a lot to catch up. Found out I got some new assignments in my portfolio. Um, Glad we have it. Funny part, I think people are like, oh my god, I'd be so pissed off if I got more work. I really don't care. Um, I feel like the work that I'm doing, it is helping America. Like, so people that always want meaning with their job and whatnot, I feel like I've got meaning in the job. Uh, and with this new thing that I'm doing now, I'm still doing what I used to do, but now it's just we have added something added in the same field. I definitely feel like this is an important thing to be doing for the country. So, um, yeah, it's definitely a good thing. I'm glad that we ended up getting it in with our group of people. Um, it'll be interesting to see how it gets implemented. So, uh, one day maybe I'll be able to talk about it, but not now. So there's that. Uh, but it was an interesting few days trying to get everything back online. I mean, this was the longest we've been shut down. It was 45 days, I believe, or close to that. And a lot of things had to get ramped back up in order for us just to do what we needed to do. Probably about 3 weeks behind on stuff. Plus, with the holidays, it might take 3.5, but it'll get done. Nothing super urgent, but just things that need to get done. Um, we'll get back in the groove of it, though, which is good. It's just, I didn't realize how much of that time off would back up a lot of other things. So, like my first week back, it was a lot of calls. People had questions. I didn't have a lot of answers. So that's another thing. We're still getting answers to things that we needed answered before. Then things changed during, and now we have to answer those questions as well. And I know this is probably like the worst, I won't say conversation, but Mike's not here. It's probably without any details, this is probably the worst bit of podcasting I've ever done. So I apologize for that, but I'm trying to convey that I thought it was going to be much quicker to kind of get back up to speed. I thought maybe a week to 2 weeks because it is our slow season. But it ended up not being our slow season because of some decisions that were made. Not good nor bad. It's just different. Things got changed up when we were out by some people that were still working. So we're just making some adjustments for that now. Not horrible, not good, not bad. Just backed us up a little bit more than I was expecting. So we're back on track though. Although I think we're going to be back in the same spot at the end of January. I don't see them really getting together on anything to create a budget. So I'm really hoping we don't end up with another CR for the remainder of the year. We've been on a CR since November of last year, October of last year, right? So I'm really hoping that we can just get a budget and get back to business as usual. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen because I have no influence in any of that. So it would be nice to get back to some normalcy. Again, it seems like with Democrats, the sky is falling every day, and with the GOP continuously saying they're fixing what was wrong, and it's like, hey, you guys can do things without talking about it every damn day, and just let people go about their lives. It's just like, I hate to say the word attention whore, But it's like, if you're not talking about them, why on earth should you be talking? Maybe because there's football on TV, or maybe because I'm buying a car, or maybe because, I don't know, gas prices were under $3 a gallon. Hey, that's nice. Makes driving my Yukon more affordable. I filled up that tank for $40, $45 the other day. I was tickled pink on that. Went to Costco. Gas was $2.55. I think it was 50 cents cheaper than the gas station, the regular gas station. I mean, shoot, man, that's not horrible. Like, not everything is gloom and doom out here. I'm not saying everything is wonderful. I'm not saying people don't have individual issues going on, but things aren't. The meteor isn't coming. You know what I mean? Like, if we just turn off the TV, or turn off the news and whatnot, and I think if you just look around, I think things are all right for people. In general, I'm saying, look, I think things were all right for us when President Obama was president. I think all these politicians could tone it down a little bit. All of them. One interesting guy I thought was Senator Kennedy from Louisiana. He came out of Congress and he saw reporters and he didn't run away from them. He walked right up to them and said, "Hey, all right, I'm about to go get some dinner, but if you got any questions, I'll answer a few before I go." And they asked him some straight questions, and he gave a straight answer. I mean, there was even one. They asked him a question, and he said the unforgivable answer of, "I'm not really sure. I'll have to look into that for you." I think we expect everyone to have all the answers all the time. And it's okay to say, "I don't know," or "there's a little bit more to this," or, "I may have voted this way, but and I kind of did it with my fingers pinching my nose because I didn't like it." It's okay to do that. But the second any one of these politicians say something like that, it gets taken out of context. They get flamed on social media and the news. It gets cut. It gets clipped. And it's just like, shit, man, he's just being human. There's a lot of things in my job people have asked me about. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I got to think on that. Or, yeah, I didn't like this decision, but I understood why it was made. Or, we looked at a few options, and trust me, this was the best option of a lot of bad options. And anyone who's living life knows that, look, there's no perfect solution sometimes when you're facing a decision or a dilemma or a problem that needs to be solved. Sometimes you've got 2 to 3 options, and they're all shit sandwiches. And you're just, you've got to eat, though. And you've just got to eat one of those shit sandwiches because that's what needs to be done. It's called adulting. A lot of people out there, I don't think they understand what it means to have to be an adult. Making bad decisions or making a decision even though it might be a bad one. But a decision has to be made. Indifference is not an option. Inaction is not an option. You've got to adult. And I just think that some people need to get off their high horse a little bit. And I'm not saying it's on either side. All these politicians seem to have the siren. Or, they used to call it, for the president, they used to call it the bully pulpit. But basically it's because these people have a microphone in their face, saying, hey, it's a nice Tuesday out. Get you no clicks, no likes, no donations. And make no mistake, politics is all about money. All about donations. Some of them, and I'm going to look, I think a lot of politicians get into it with the right idea. For the right reasons. And then you see the money that comes in, or you see the amount of people that you now need to take care of. So you need the money to come in so you can keep people employed. And politics is political campaigns and um, political staffs, they're enormous. It employs a lot of people. And if you don't have the money coming in, you're going to have to let people go. It's just like any other job, any other corporation. And I think a lot of these people realize that, so they're out there for the donations. I'm going to say this inflammatory thing in order to get donations. The perfect example of this, look at the Zoran Mamdani campaign, the guy who just won the New York City mayoral election. Talking shit about Trump, Trump's talking shit about him. They probably fundraised a ton off each other, saying, just talking shit about each other. Next thing you know, Zoran's in the White House shaking hands with President Trump. And they're going to work together. Shocker. Anyone who thought President Trump was going to let New York City drown was never paying attention. The guy loves New York City. From New York City. You could say he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. You can say anything you want about him, but the man loves New York City. He's not going to let it drown. That was never an option. And so now, the supposed communist and the worst human on earth, according to some, are now going to work together. It's interesting. I wrote this in a Twitter post, in a tweet, if you will. I listened to Zoran Mamdani on the Flagrant podcast, the one with Andrew Schultz and Akash Singh and all that, and those guys over there. Yes, I do listen to other podcasts. I don't like listening to myself talk. So, shockingly enough, right? As I'm talking to you on my own here. If I would have closed my eyes, or if I would have just, let's say I didn't hear him, I just read let's say if I just read the transcript, that could have been Donald Trump sitting there. It was eerily, the messaging was eerily similar. I mean, he ran on New York first, which is, he just took Trump's playbook of America first and just put New York instead of America in front of it. That's it. That's what he did. It's funny to me, though. Like, if I just listen to the clips of him online, if I just listen to the quotes that people snipped of him, I thought he was a communist. I thought he was a socialist. And don't get me wrong, he very well may be. I mean, he calls himself one, right? But when you listen to him talk with context in a full interview, it was I think it was over an hour of the podcast. Dude, I swear, I texted a buddy of mine. I was like, if I didn't know any better, he sounded like Trump. He sounded like a MAGA, America First candidate. And then lo and behold, there he is shaking hands with Donald Trump in the White House, talking about how they're going to work together, didn't have bad words to say. You know, Bill Maher kind of mentioned this, and he said, you know, President Trump likes to pick fights online. But in person, he's a very different human being. He likes to make deals. This is a deal maker. Whether you think he's a good deal maker or not, I don't really give a shit. The man likes to make a deal. He likes to come through. He likes the appearance of being the deal maker. He wants to have the photo op. He wants to shake hands, and he wants to say, you know, we got it done. I didn't get everything I wanted. He didn't get everything he wanted, but we got a deal done. We think it's going to be good for the American people. It's almost the same speech every single time he makes a deal. You know, I don't think it was an amazing deal, but I think it was a good deal. He's good. He was a good person, a good negotiator. He didn't get everything he wanted, but eventually it was good for America, or it was good for these people, or it was good for. He wants to make a deal good for other people. And in exchange, he gets some praise. Right? Bill Maher is talking exactly like that on a show. He's like, Trump in person is different than Trump online. I don't know if that's a bad thing. There's something in business. It's under promise and over deliver. If I come into this meeting, President Trump's called me all type of names, told me how horrible a person I am. I get in there, he shakes my hand, looks me in the eye, asks me how I'm doing. It's immediately off-putting. This is not the man who made fun of me online. Then he says some more nice things about me. Then we get in the negotiation, and it's starting to be more of a give and take. It catches you off guard, and then you want to make a deal because he's given you one or two things after you thought he was going to give you nothing in the deal. And then you walk out with a deal. Anyone who doesn't know this man's playbook should just read his book, The Art of the Deal. You start high with your expectation, and you meet in the middle. And if you set your expectations so much higher than what it really was, the middle is no longer the middle. The middle is more along where I wanted it to be. Or, in this case, him. And maybe that's what Zoran did. And maybe that's why they were able to shake hands and make whatever deals they made. Kudos to both of them, though. Show that you don't have to agree with someone's politics in order to shake their hand, have a meeting with them, talk with them face to face, and come to an agreement. Everyone on both sides of the political aisle thought those two were going to butt heads for the remaining 3 years. Everybody. Nobody thought they were going to get along. And there they are in the White House, shaking hands, being complimentary of each other. But the media wants you to be upset all the time. Because when you're upset, you click on a CNN link. CNN makes money. You click on an MSNBC link. MSNBC makes money. Or MS Now, whatever they're called. Fox News, same thing. You click on a link, they make money. BBC, click on a link, they make money. If you click, they make money. But if you write on CNN.com, Mamdani and Trump got along, no one's clicking on that. Controversy sells. Why do you think the reality TV shows make money and they're still on TV? Or The Voice or The Masked Singer? Because there's always drama. Drama sells. People love drama. Me, I don't like drama. Don't watch those shows. I'm always the person, like I was the one in Harry Potter, I was like, all right, can Ron and Hermione finally just get together and then be happy without the drama? And they did eventually. Yay for them. Fictional characters, not even real. Cheering for them. But yeah, so back to work. Hopefully some stuff gets done. I can't really say what my true thoughts on the government. I don't need the backlash. I don't need the bullshit. Work will get done. We'll see what happens though in January. Hopefully we're not back at this again. Maybe we are. What else is going on? Sorry we left you guys hanging last week. No show. Yeah, it's just Mike's been doing some stuff with the kids. Holidays, they're getting ready for the holidays. We're getting ready for the holidays. Let's see. No, Mike and I aren't feuding. Yeah, you guys can understand. The second anything dealing with this show would lead to like Mike and I not getting along, this show would end. We're not putting the show before our friendship. Never going to happen. We always split stuff down the middle, 50-50. Not that there's a lot to split. I'm not saying that. But, yeah, the second there's any kind of rift in our friendship because of this, this show would end tomorrow, next day, whenever. If Mike was like, yo, man, I'm aggravated with you over the show. I'm like, yo, man, I'm aggravated with you. Okay, show's over. Show's over. But we're not there. Mike, it's just, yeah, we're two guys raising kids and working jobs. Well, now I'm working. Mike just had a change in his job. I mean, same job, he just got reassigned. So he's going through that too. I'll let him explain that if he wants to when he comes back. But yeah, look, we're like everybody else. Like, this is not our job, right? We make a little money, thanks to Adam. Thank you, Adam, again. But we both have our day jobs. And that comes first. And the kids come first. And the wives come first. This show is like number 6 on the priority list. You know what I mean? We're usually able to get in a record date. And unfortunately, like for the last 2 weeks or so, we've just been running all over the place with everything going on. I mean, I've got some of my medical issues. He's got his job things going on. He's got the kids going on. We both just finished the fall sports season. And so we just haven't been able to get together and record episodes. So we're probably going to work on getting some more people involved. I keep saying that. And I just have it's hard enough getting 2 people's schedules together to record. So I'm kind of dreading adding in 3 or 4 other people, or 2 or 3 other people at a time. But we're going to have to do that just so we don't have any more of these lapses like we have. That being said, though, I mean, we're still committed to making shows. It's just sometimes we just hit some roadblocks, and it looks like it's been like one show, and this is the first time it's happened in a while. So hopefully it won't happen again, but you never know. So just be warned. We might go, what do they call it? Go dark one of these for a week or so, but not or so. Well, we won't let it go 2 weeks. But yeah, so there's that. I've got some of my medical stuff still going on, having some issues driving a little bit. Something with like disorientation. So, I've been to my ENT. I think it still has something to do with some sinus inflammation, but we also got my eyes checked out. Turns out my prescription for my glasses, I always go to like America's Best, and there's nothing against America's Best. I like it because you can go there, free eye exam, you get some fairly inexpensive glasses, but maybe I probably need to go see a better eye doctor and get better lenses that could accommodate for my astigmatism a little bit better. And so we're going to. I'm getting new glasses made. They'll be done in about a week or so. So hopefully that will help out with the disorientation as far as driving goes. Probably going back to the ENT. I went to a physical therapist about eye strengthening, if it was an eye issue. Optokinetic nystagmus is what she thought it was. I still haven't even looked it up to know what that means. But I'm going to go back to the ENT. I think we're probably going to do an MRI on my head just to make sure there's nothing pressing on anything as far as inflammation goes. But it definitely seems that my sinus inflammation has become worse over the past couple of months. So maybe we'll have an adjustment to that. Still doing an adjustment to the anxiety meds, which still don't know if that's really what's related to this, but we're figuring that part out too. It could also be tied to the GLP-1, the tirzepatide. Apparently there's like a link to tirzepatide and sinus medication. So I got to figure out which sinus medication, because I do take fluticasone. I do 2 sprays of fluticasone in each nostril every morning. I've done that for at least the last 6 years, 7 years maybe. So there could be something there. I doubt it, but maybe. Because those drugs definitely, I don't know what the right word, remediate glucose levels, blood sugar levels for the most part, I think. The MD that I don't have isn't really helpful right now because I don't know what I'm really talking about. I'm basically guessing, pissing in the wind, as they say. So, I don't know. I got to get that stuff checked out. I am getting it checked out. I still have to go to a couple more doctors, and because I got to be able to drive. I live in the suburbs, and you got to be able to drive around here. So, luckily, it's not too bad. It only occurs once in a while. If it does, I pull over, get my bearings back about me, and move on my way. So there's that. Mike's doing great with his weight loss. I'll let him talk more about that when he comes back. I'm still stuck at the 280 mark. Haven't been able to drop down. I got a feeling the doctor's going to want to up my dose of the tirzepatide, which may or may not make the other issues worse, but we'll see when I talk to him. Um, I'll probably wait until at least after Thanksgiving, if not after Christmas, because I really don't want to deal with it during the holidays, if you know what I mean. And so that's pretty much where that part is there. It's been frustrating. Uh, I guess the word is, I guess it's mental fatigue for myself right now. Just it's been going on for a few months as far as this goes. With the driving issues, and I'm going to call it anxiety, but I don't know if it's that. But whatever's going on, it's because now I don't know when it's going to flare up as far as when I'm driving. Um, it's because I think about it a lot, and I'm doing a lot of things to try and fix it or figure out what it is. It's mentally draining, which then makes me physically tired. Uh, so yeah, and don't get me wrong. It's not. I mean, I try and be as upbeat as possible about it because there are worse things in life. But yeah, it's frustrating as you're going through these processes to find out what it is that's causing it. It's very difficult to describe exactly what it is as well. So even describing the situation to the doctors is um, a bit difficult. So anyone who's had to go through trying to diagnose something that isn't as straightforward as, like for example, when I had cancer, it was uh, had an issue. Doctor did a scan found enlarged lymph nodes. Biopsy the lymph nodes. Yep, it's cancer. All right, here's the solution. We're going to give this a try. At least it was a little bit more cut and dry as far as what it was, treatment, and moving on. So this is a little bit different because we don't know exactly what it is yet. And it's been months of going to doctors and physical therapy. Um, and so, yeah, it weighs on your mind a bit more as you're shuffling some things around in personal lives to try and accommodate for what's going on. And then just thinking about it and wishing that you could just fix it, move on, because it does seem like it's something uh, that should be fixable, right? I mean, it's not like a broken arm though, where you know exactly what it is. They put you in a cast, it heals in 6 weeks, physical therapy for another 6 weeks, and you're back to normal, right? Well, this is a bit different than that, and that's why it's a bit mentally taxing. Um, so yeah, it does. It wears on your mind a little bit, as is the best way I can put it. So, well, I guess we're gonna end the show on that note. Which, sorry about that, but I want to thank Adam Chubbuck with TACMD.com. That's TACMD.com. Douglas Realty, Team Alpha Charlie in Pasadena, Maryland. I'm telling you, check out his social media. You'll see what I'm talking about when I say how thorough he is. If you want an agent who's not going to drop a ball anywhere in the process, Adam's the guy to talk to. He's going to make sure that everything is set up properly, things go the way they should go. I mean, I've seen him work when I've been around him, and it's very meticulous the way he goes about these things. Um, got a little bit of the ADHD, which, hey, as a buyer or seller, it works in your favor. So if you want someone who's detail oriented, and going to do what they say they're going to do, who's going to treat your money and your transaction as if it's its own personal money and transaction, go to tacmd.com, tacmd.com. If you're anywhere in the Maryland, Delaware, Virginia area, DC as well, just have a phone call with them. Cost you nothing. You'll be impressed. All right, guys, I'll see you next week with Mike, hopefully. And thank you for listening to this episode. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. See you next week.